Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Shang. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. In October 2023, an intriguing incident unfolded in mainland China as a book titled Chongzhen, Diligent Emperor of a Foreign Empire was delisted. The official explanation from the publisher attributed the removal to printing issues, prompting distributors to swiftly withdraw the book upon notification. Consequently, the book disappeared from the shelves of the Chinese online book retailer Dangdang, and the sales on JD.com were halted. In the current Chinese cultural landscape, the removal of sensitive books is not a novel occurrence. Typically, such removals are associated with books touching on contemporary political issues or those critical of centralized authority, especially from foreign sources. However, the recent delisting of the book Chongzhen, Diligent Emperor of a Foreign Empire, is noteworthy as it solely delved into historical content. The question arises, why would a historical account about a ruler from over 300 years ago face removal? The author, the late Chen Wutong, served as the head of the history department at the Central University for Nationalities and was an esteemed expert in Ming Dynasty history until his passing in May 2023. The book is not a recent publication. It was originally released in 2016 under the title Chongzhen's Past, the Final Landscape of the Ming Empire. The recent incident involves a reprint with a modified title, possibly a strategic decision by the book's publisher to enhance market appeal. Unexpectedly, this change led to the significant controversy by inadvertently touching upon sensitive subjects concerning the highest leadership. Why is this assertion made? Just take a look at the cover introduction of this book, where it boldly declares, repeatedly employing foolish strategies, step by step in error. The more diligent the emperor, the more the empire perishes. Exploring aspects such as finance, party governance, military personnel decisions, the book guides readers to comprehend how Emperor Chongzhen consistently adopted misguided strategies, leading the empire down the path of demise. After reading such a summary, who comes to mind first? I presume that for most people it's not Chongzhen, but rather Xi Jinping. Hence, it's unsurprising that this book was removed by relevant Chinese Communist Party authorities, and even the previous version was delisted. A bald head avoids the spotlight. Someone with low self-esteem fears hearing any form of criticism, as each word spoken may seem like a personal affront. Yet, when such attempts to hide are revealed, they often end up becoming a source of mockery. The CCP frequently engages in these counterproductive attempts to conceal the obvious. Like many others, I was initially unfamiliar with this book and had never heard of it. However, after it was banned and removed from circulation, it sparked curiosity, and people are now eager to acquire a copy to see its content. The online price of the book's previous version has doubled, likely due to increased demand. It can be said that the ban has inadvertently brought attention to and elevated the popularity of this book. Regardless of whether the book initially intended to allude to Xi Jinping, after its ban, it has achieved precisely that effect. Why does the CCP fear discussions about the Chongzhen? What are the taboos associated with Chongzhen for them? Today, I'll explore the commonalities and the differences between Xi Jinping and Chongzhen. The typical traits of a ruler who leads a nation to ruin include inadequate abilities and widespread character flaws. While historically such rulers bear various derogatory names, there are degrees to these shortcomings. Place a Xi Jinping and Chongzhen side by side. It's probable that Chongzhen himself will find the comparison insulting due to its strong negative implications. While Xi Jinping shares all of Chongzhen's shortcomings, he lacks any of Chongzhen's merits. So, what are the shared shortcomings between Chongzhen and Xi Jinping? Firstly, both exhibit the flaw of harboring grand ambitions without possessing the acquired talent and displaying a rigid and self-willed nature. When Chongzhen assumed the throne, it was during the late period of the Ming Dynasty, marked by internal and external turmoil and the empire's deteriorating state. Chongzhen aspired to make a significant impact, aiming to be a transformative leader to steer the Ming Dynasty back on course. While such aspirations are commendable, the tragedy lies in the disparity between his ambitions and his actual capabilities. Chongzhen spent his early life within the confines of the imperial palace. At the age of 16, his brother Emperor Ming Xizong unexpectedly passed away without leaving an heir. Consequently, as Ming Xizong's only surviving brother, Chongzhen hastily ascended to the throne. As a young emperor, Chongzhen lacked any distinctive talents. Furthermore, not being the designated heir and lacking relevant political experience, he had inherent shortcomings. However, rather than acknowledging these limitations, Chongzhen was desperate for solutions. His approach to both domestic and diplomatic matters was marked by excessive aggression and inflexibility, resulting in a passive stance on various fronts. For instance, despite having no military expertise, Chongzhen insisted on giving directives. A notable Ming Dynasty general Sun Quanting had successfully quelled a peasant uprising led by Li Zicheng in Shanxi province, achieving victories such as defeating the rebel leader Gao Yingxiang and forcing Li Zicheng into retreat. However, distrusting military commanders, Chongzhen unwisely intervened, repeatedly reassigning Sun Quanting and allowed Li Zicheng to stage comebacks. Eventually, when Li Zicheng posed a significant threat and the situation spiraled out of control, Chongzhen ordered the undermanned and under-equipped Sun Quanting to engage in a decisive battle, leading to Sun Quanting's death on the battlefield and leaving the Ming Dynasty without capable military leaders. Despite these outcomes, Chongzhen refused to accept the fault, attributing any mistakes to the incompetence of his subordinates. His famous assertion was, "My ministers have misled me." In his view, he bore no responsibility and any issues arose solely from the presence of corrupt officials. Xi Jinping shares a resemblance with Chongzhen in this regard. His ascent to power is primarily attributed to his red lineage and the positive legacy left by his father within the party, rather than his personal outstanding abilities. Xi Jinping's ambitions exceed those of Chongzhen. While Chongzhen sought to rejuvenate the Ming Dynasty, Xi Jinping envisions establishing a community of shared destiny for mankind and aspires to be a global leader. Since assuming office, Xi Jinping has prominently raised the banner of so-called struggles, engaging in conflicts against the heaven-earth people and the civilizations of nations globally. Despite being an elementary school student who struggles to read fluently and lacks familiarity with common Chinese characters, Xi Jinping frequently positions himself to provide guidance to China and even the entire world. The second common trait is a strong centralization of power and a penchant for vanity and reputation. When Chongzhen ascended the throne, the Ming Dynasty had already stood for 260 years. Despite facing political challenges, a stable and effective civil servant system had been established. A term we recognize today, cabinet, originated during the Ming Dynasty. Typically, major political directives were initially discussed in cabinet meetings. Subsequently, they were deliberated within the 6 ministries to propose solutions, a process known as piaoni in Chinese. Finally, the emperor would grant approval. This practical decentralization of power with specialized individuals handling specific tasks serves to some extent as a check against personal autocracy. To offer an imperfect analogy, the Ming Dynasty's cabinet could be compared to the modern-day state council, with the chief minister of the cabinet resembling the prime minister. The cabinet was responsible for the specific execution of administrative functions, while the emperor retained the role of granting final approval. Following Chongzhen's ascent to the throne, he entirely revoked authority of the cabinet, choosing to personally make decisions on all matters regardless of their significance. This led him to review official documents daily, often extending late into the night. While one could frame this as diligent governance, a more critical perspective might characterize it as consolidating power, making unilateral decisions and disregarding established governance principles. With the cabinet reduced to a symbolic entity and the emperor lacking high competence, it becomes questionable whether state affairs could avoid encountering issues. Since assuming office, Xi Jinping has consistently pursued a path of centralization, implementing a strategy known as small team governance. This approach involves establishing various leadership teams, stripping away administrative functions from the original state council, and consolidating all political and administrative authority of the country under his monopoly. This transformation shifts the focus from government affairs to party affairs, highlighting the party's control over all aspects. The role of the premier of the state council, once considered the second in command within the CCP, has been diminished to a subservient position with little real influence and certainly no power of constraint. With great power comes great responsibility. However, Chongzhen, characterized by significant vanity and a keen desire for reputation, attempted to consolidate the power without shouldering accountability. Whenever issues arose, even when the decisions were clearly his own, he consistently shifted the blame onto his ministers, claiming success for effective leadership and attributing failure to subordinate incompetence, becoming a recurring pattern. Take, for instance, his decision to prioritize internal stability before addressing external threats by negotiating with the later Jin to counter rebel Li Zicheng. The later Jin became the Manchu-led Qing Dynasty. However, Chongzhen's pursuit of acclaim led him to send Chen Xinjia, the Minister of War, for secret negotiations, aiming to avoid being perceived as compromising. Despite nearing an agreement, the covert talks were exposed, facing opposition from numerous war-oriented ministers. To deflect responsibility, Chongzhen incredulously feigned ignorance of the matter and scapegoated Chen Xinjia, executing him to silence any potential revelation. Consequently, discussion of peace negotiations became taboo, and the Ming Dynasty forfeited its last opportunity to reverse its fortunes. When Li Zicheng was on the verge of capturing Beijing, Chongzhen contemplated moving the capital to Nanjing. However, concerned about his reputation, he didn't want to be seen as fleeing. He attempted to have a lower-ranking official propose the idea for his approval. Yet, when the proposal to move the capital faced opposition from senior ministers, Chongzhen reversed his position, claiming he never entertained the idea. This missed opportunity to relocate the capital led to his eventual entrapment and a demise in Beijing. Doesn't this bear a striking resemblance to Xi Jinping? Xi Jinping frequently boasts about personally commanding and orchestrating initiatives. However, when faced with challenges, he consistently avoids shouldering the blame. A prime example is the pandemic control over the past 3 years. From the Wuhan lockdown to nationwide nucleic acid testing, it's apparent to any discerning observer that these decisions were solely made by Xi Jinping. Initially, when the lockdown and the testing seemed somewhat effective, he took full credit. Yet as public discontent grew and the containment policies faltered, he shifted the blame to local governments, accusing them of inadequate execution. He attributes all success to himself while assigning faults to others. In this aspect, the parallels between Chongzhen and Xi Jinping are striking. The third common flaw is a fondness for harsh measures and an inability to distinguish between loyalty and treason. Chongzhen wasn't originally the heir apparent, and he grew up amidst the treacherous intrigues of the imperial court, fostering a character marked by cruelty, ingratitude, and a blurred line between loyalty and betrayal. Upon assuming the throne, he swiftly eliminated the influential Wei Zhongxian, conducting a comprehensive purge of the eunuch faction. While one might expect a shift towards constructive governance after removing political rivals, Chongzhen considered the triumph of Wei Zhongxian a successful precedent. Consequently, he frequently resorted to purge to handle ministers, even when his grip on power was secure. In response to displeasing actions by subordinates, he would either reprimand and dismiss them, or in severe cases imprison and execute them. During his 17-year reign, Chongzhen replaced 19 chancellors and 50 grand secretaries, a significant turnover compared to the Ming Dynasty's entire 276-year history, which saw only 164 grand secretaries. Additionally, he executed 2 chancellors, 11 governors general, and 12 provincial governors. A notable case was Yuan Chonghuan, who, while defending Liaodong, effectively prevented the Manchu forces from breaching the Great Wall. However, due to an unfounded accusation and Chongzhen's suspicious nature, this crucial figure in the nation's defense was unjustly executed, resulting in the self-destruction of the defensive line. Chongzhen's failure to differentiate between loyalty and treason can be described as reaching a disturbing height. He viewed loyal ministers like Lu Xiangsheng, Sun Chuanting, Yuan Chonghuan with suspicion and implemented strict precautions, while extending unwarranted trust to traitorous ministers such as Wen Tiren, Yang Sichang, and Gao Qiqian. For instance, Wen Tiren, a purely opportunistic and inept individual, astonishingly held the position of chancellor for 8 years, encompassing half of Chongzhen's reign. Since assuming power, Xi Jinping has used the purported anti-corruption drive to purge various factions within the party, including cliques and factions, consolidating considerable authority for himself. However, akin to Chongzhen, he appears to harbor insecurity, repeatedly employing purges to establish his unwavering leadership. Those not aligned with his faction, regardless of their capabilities, find themselves sidelined. Even within his own faction, individuals perceived as lacking loyalty face potential removal. In the past 6 months, figures like Foreign Minister Qin Gang, Defense Minister Li Shangfu, and high-ranking officials personally promoted by Xi Jinping in the rocket force have not been exempt. Conversely, Xi Jinping favors individuals like Cai Qi, Wang Yi, and Li Chang, long-term loyalists who consistently praise and defer to him. In the current political landscape of the CCP, competence and integrity seems less critical than the willingness to submit obediently. Within such a cadre of officials, doubts arise about their ability to govern effectively, raising concerns about the nation's well-being. The highlighted similarities between Chongzhen, the last emperor of the Ming Dynasty, and the present emperor Xi Jinping likely meet little contention. However, if one were to draw a parallel between Xi Jinping and a ruler presiding over a nation's decline, Chongzhen might vehemently oppose. The reasons for this will be analyzed in the upcoming segment, exploring the notable differences between these two figures. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.